so we're starting on Unit 4. We're going to go ahead and look at this. This is just the rational and radical functions that we are doing. We'll solve and all of that, and then we'll graph them just like we've done in every other unit. So the same kind of stuff, just different types of functions. All right? So if we go over, we're going to simplify rationals first. Now, the easiest thing to do, all you got to do is remember to factor. Okay? So we're going to just do a little bit of a factor review to make sure that you're good with that. But if we look at the first one, we've got 2x squared minus 18. So we have two terms. Our options when we have two terms is sum or difference of cubes and difference of squares. But you always want to look for a GCF first. And if I look at the 2 and I look at the 18, I have a GCF of 2. So if I take that 2 out, I'm left with x squared minus 9. Now I'm going to look at that term, x squared minus 9. Can I do sum and difference of cubes? No, because it is a square. But I could do square root, or difference of squares, because it is being subtracted. X squared is a perfect square, and so is 9. So my square root of x squared is x. My square root of 9 is 3. So I have a plus and a minus, but I do not want to forget that 2 that's out front there. All right? Let's look at the next one. We have 3 terms. So when we have 3 terms, we're going to go to the x method. Always look for a GCF first. We have a 1, 3, 18. We do not have anything that will go into all 3 of those. So let's go ahead and do the x method. I need to multiply to get negative 18, add to get 3. So my factors of 18 are 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Of those, it would give me 3, 6, and 3. Now I need one of them to be a negative. But remember, this takes the sign of my bigger number. My bigger number is 6, so since the 3 is positive, the 6 is positive. That's going to make that 3 negative. So my factors are x plus 6 and x minus 3. And this should be easy for you because we've done this back unit 2 and 3. So this is just a quick review. All right, the next one, we have reterms. So x method. Now, we have a 2, 9, and 5. We do not have a GCF, but we have a number bigger than 1 in front of that x squared. So remember, we have to multiply a and c, which would give me a negative 10. So I need to multiply to get a negative 10, add to get a negative 9. Now my factors of 10 are 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. So of those, it would give me 9 is 1 and 10. One of those have to be negative. The 9 takes the sign of my biggest number. My biggest number is 10. We're not done yet though. Because remember, we have to find out which factor will have a number up front in the parentheses. Because when we box or FOIL these back out, we want to get what we started with. So if I look, my A is 2, so I'm going to divide the 1 by 2 and the negative 10 by 2. And I'm going to see if any of these simplify. 1 over 2 does not, but negative 10 over 2 simplifies to negative 5. So there are my factors. So we have x plus 1 over 2, and then we have x minus 5. Now, if you remember the bottoms up, go ahead and do it. I'm just going ahead and do it each step, so that way if somebody has forgotten. Now, we don't want to leave this as a fraction in the parentheses, so remember we have to take the bottom and move it up front. So that gives us a 2x plus 1, and then the x minus 5 just stays the same. And there we go. So that's our answers for those. Now, if we continue on, we're still going to simplify these fractional expressions, but you have to factor. So the first thing that you're going to do for each of these is factor first. So factor first, and after you factor, you will simplify, then simplify the fraction. Okay? So it just goes back to remembering how to factor. So on the first one, we factor the top. We have a 2 we could take out. So we're left with x plus 3. Then we can do the same thing for the bottom. So 4 and 12, we can take out a 4, x minus 3. Now we can simplify. Now to be able to simplify, whatever you're simplifying out, it has to match. Just like, and I'm just going to do this little example over here to the side. If we had 5 over 5, that would simplify because the 5's match. If we had 5 over 10, the 5 would go away and become 1. The 10 would become 2. So that's exactly what we're doing, but they have to match or have a common factor. Okay? So when I'm looking at this, I'm going to take and look at these in sections. Okay, so I have the 2 and the 4. The 2 and the 4 can actually simplify. This becomes 1, this becomes 2. Because 2 goes into both of those. If I look at the x plus 3 and the x minus 3, they both have x, they both have 3. But since they're in parentheses, what is being added or subtracted is the whole thing. The whole parenthesis has to match. And since they do not, and the signs are different, I have to leave those. So my final answer is going to be on the bottom, I have 2 x minus 3. On the top, I have x plus 3. I can put that 1 there if I want. I don't have to, because all that is telling me is 1 times x plus 3. That is my answer. Let's look at the next one. So we have 3 terms on top, and I'm going to erase this. We have 3 terms on top, so we're going to do x method. So multiply to get 20, add to get 9. My factors of 20 are 4 and 5. So x plus 4, x plus 5. Now if I look at the bottom, I have 2 terms. There's not a difference of squares, and it's not a sum and difference of cubes, but I do have a GCF. I have a GCF of 2. So if I take out a 2, I'm left with x plus 4. Now if I look at that, I have 2 parentheses that match. The x plus 4, so they would cancel each other out. So what am I left with? Can I cancel the x plus 5 and the 2? No, because they are not the same. So my answer is x plus 5 over 2. All right, let's look at the last one. If I look at the top, I have 2 terms. So I have a GCF of 4, so I can take out a 4. And I'm left with x plus 1. All right, on the bottom, I have 3 terms, so I'm going to go to x method. So multiply to get 3, add to get 4. My factors of 3 are 3 and 1. So x plus 3, x plus 1. Now if I'm looking at the top and the bottom, what do I have in common? The x plus 1, so those cancel out. Can I do anything with the 4 and the x plus 3? No, I cannot. So my answer is 4 over x plus 3. Now, I just happen to put that one in parentheses. It does not matter if you do or not. The reason I say that, if you look back, I have the x plus 5, it's not in parentheses, but it's still the correct answer. Okay? All right. So now I want you to try real quick. Pause the video, factor them, and simplify them, and then see if you get the same thing that I get. Okay? So if I look at the first one, if I look at the top, I have a GCF of 3. So if I take out a 3, I'm left with x minus 4. Okay? If I look at the bottom one, I have a GCF of 3, but I also have a GCF of x because they both have an x in there. So I'm left with x minus 4. Now I need to see what we have in common. So if I look at this, the x minus 4 is canceled. This leaves me with 3 over 3x. Now if I look at that, I can't cancel out parentheses unless they match exactly, because it is being added or subtracted. But since I'm multiplying here, I can actually take and simplify these 3's out. And anytime you have a number over a number that's the exact same, it becomes 1. So the 3 on top becomes 1, and then on the bottom it becomes 1x. Now, I don't have to put that 1 there, but I know that anytime I multiply x by 1, it's still going to give me x. All right, if I look at the next one, if I do the x method, I need a negative 12 and a negative 1. That's going to be 4 and 3. The 4 becomes negative, so I have x minus 4 and x plus 3. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom. Negative 8 and negative 2. 4 and 2. The 4 becomes negative because the 2 is negative. So x minus 4, x plus 2. So if I look at what matches, the x minus 4's match. So I can take those out. So I can't do anything, even though those are x plus, they have a different number that's being added to them, so the values change. Okay? So my answer is going to be x plus 3 over x plus 2. All right, let's look at the very last one. I have a GCF of 6 on top. That's going to leave me with x plus 4. On the bottom, I'm going to do x method. I have 12 and 7, and my factors of 12 are 4 and 3. So x plus 4, x plus 3. Now what can I cancel out? The x plus 4 is the same. I'm left with 6 over x plus 3. And if I look at this, is there anything that I can do? You may be hesitant and want to take the 6 and the 3 and simplify them, but you cannot do that because the 3 is attached to the x by an addition sign. So you have to leave them together since it's being added and subtracted. Okay, if it was being multiplied, you could change that. All right, I want you to practice this on your own. Let me know if you have any questions.